bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. Anyway, so I haven't done one of these videos in like, I don't have a watch on, in about probably, fuck me, I think it probably almost a year. So the movie I'm going to talk to you guys about today is I Am Number 4. Now, I Am Number 4 is based on a book, a YA book, of all things, a YA science fiction book, which is a series of books, which obviously this didn't get any sequels. And the studio was trying to market this as the Twilight for boys. Alright, let's get into this. The movie starts out with, like, I guess some dialogue. It's a lot of the dialogue or, voiceovers or whatever get really whispery. It zooms in on Earth, so because it's science fiction, it has to do with, possibly aliens, life from another planet. So it shows, like, some blue-filtered night, village, rednecks, or whatever shit. Some crazy intense music is playing. You see a dude with, like, a glowing blue dagger, because why not? There's, like, I think a fart cloud happening. I can't tell. It's blue-filtered night. So the guy with the blue dagger dies, I guess. And then the other person just runs, because you do. And then they're tracked down by some Star Trek aliens, and that person gets stabbed. Oh, and also the person gets turned into stone and then disintegrates, because that's what you do. And mind you, this is well within the first 4 minutes. Apparently that's supposed to be some kind of backstory, because right after that, you jump to someone wave riding. Woo! And that's our main character, Guy. I'm just gonna call him 4. And it's just like a good, probably half minute to minute long, maybe 2 minutes, I lost track, of just the guy wave riding with his friends. Very, like extreme 90s movie kind of shit going on. Oh, and of course he does a backflip while he's, on the water, because he's the main guy and he's so cool and he's like, oh my god, like, he did like a backflip and he's like, ha. So of course he does a backflip and a bunch of guys are like, we're bros! Woo! We're bros! So of course it like piqued an interest on some random blonde. And then she's like in the middle of the water like, come in the water with me. I'm like naked. I might be naked, I might not be, but come in the water with me. And looks like some serial killer shit, because it's just like her head sticking out of the water. And he just like looks at her and he's like, yeah, why not? So, things are getting kind of hot and heavy in the water. Then all of a sudden his leg starts, like, lighting up. Like, some fucking LEDs are, like, on his leg. And he's, like, freaking out, and the girl's like, oh my god, like, why is your leg lighting? Oh my god. And of course, like, he gets back to shore, and he's like, oh, my leg! Ah! Oh no, there's, like, a third scar showing up, because there's, like, 2 other scars are in, like a weird, thing's happening. And then his leg is still lighting up. He's freaking out. The girl runs away and she's like, oh my god, what a freak. And I was like, his leg is lighting up. I don't know if that's like a freak. I just think that's weird. Timothy Olyphant is in this movie, because apparently he couldn't get any better work. So of course they have to like leave because his powers are showing up. So they just move out and leave. Insurance selling gecko thingy is like following them, and then because the plot says so, that they explain why the scars show up. Apparently because he is number 4, the other 3 before him have been killed, so when you're next, I guess. So while I guess escaping and trying to get a new life yet again, exposition happens and it becomes the whole like, Timothy Olyphant is my protector, and I'm the last of my kind, blah, blah, blah. And then they go to, like, they get to a house with a big, like, foreclosure sign on the property, and frickin' Timothy Olyphant just goes and just removes the sign, and then they just move into the house, because not like the authorities know that that house has been foreclosed, not like any real estate people know that that house has been foreclosed, not that anyone living there know that property is foreclosed, since it does seem like a small town. It's like, oh, suddenly someone bought it from who? I don't know, they just moved in. Yeah, that makes sense. Oh yeah, and so Timothy Oliphant, the protector guy, he has like some crazy technology where just by scanning your face or just taking a picture of your face with a really shitty digital camera, it can scour the internet with facial recognition and just delete you off the internet. So you hear a knock at the door, and it's a dog! Oh my god, it's a dog! All of a sudden, cut to Crazy Blonde ripping open mattresses and all that stuff at that beach house that they lived at before they left. And then she does the whole like, I'm gonna blow up the place, walk away, don't look at the explosion kind of shit, and the explosion gets towards her. She has this freaking, you know, like Incredibles kid force field so she doesn't get burned at all, because why not? I just find it funny that, you know, he's on the run. We know he's a teenager, he's on the run, but he's like, I have to go to school. I have to go to school. And it's like, you're on the run. If you end up being a new kid in school, and then, I don't know, just like the cliche thing of things weird start happening. Oh, it's the new kid. Maybe just don't go to school. Just don't bother going to school. You're on the run because you could die at any point. Yeah, I'm gonna go to school. Alright, fine. He gets to school, and a different blonde, a third blonde, so she gives him like a tour, like, this is where your locker is at. And then the obvious, like, jocks, bully guys from the school are like, hey, nice meeting you. You seem kind of ripped just like us. We're high school students. Yeah, maybe you can be part of our gang, because we're a bunch of bros. There's like this very obvious, like really geeky kind of nerd, kind of loser, smart kid character. And it's like, what's up with like the UFOs and spaceships? He's like, oh, you wouldn't understand. And it's like, you later find out the explanation, but you could have just be like, I really like the X-Files, or like, I like science. I don't know. And then of course, like, the cliche thing of like, oh, we're having lunch. Oh no, there's nowhere to sit. Oh, hey, there's a grassy knoll for us to sit, because it's one of those schools where you could like sit outside. Oh, nerdy kid with his tray of food. Jocks throw a football at him. Oh my god, my stuff goes spilling over. And then of course 4 is like, I'll teach him a lesson, and I just wham the fucking football over to them, and the guy's like, ugh, and he's like, God, bro, what? That's not cool, man. It's not cool. You want to check a football? It's not cool. I was like, it's so dumb. It's so fucking dumb. It's like, you have the cliche high school thing, like, you could avoid all this by just not going to fucking school, because you're on the run, because you could die! And then it's like you're a teenager, so you're at that whole like, I'm discovering my powers. It's like, kind of like the X-Men, but at the same time I suck. Because all of a sudden, like, I'm super strong all of a sudden. You know, all of a sudden, Mr. I did a backflip with a fucking, you know, big old mechanism thingy. Yeah, okay. Oh, suddenly I'm super strong. So then he's in class, and it's like movie time in class, and all of a sudden his hands start glowing, and I'm like, how does no one notice that? Because, yeah, like, the lights are off, and obviously there's like the big, you know, the projectors there and the bright screen, but anyone would notice that, again, because he's got LEDs in his hands, and he keeps opening his hands, he's like, oh, it won't stop, it won't stop, I've got force lightning coming out of my hands, what do I fucking do? He, like, runs away and goes into, like, a fucking janitor's closet and thinks if I dip my hands in the mop bucket, it'll diffuse it. Like, bitch, you know that's not gonna work! And then, of course, like, Timothy Oliphant shows up out of nowhere, help him out in the janitor's closet, like, takes him home without anyone noticing, and, like, quick exposition, like, oh, your powers are starting to show up, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, puberty, even though the dude looks like he's fucking 29. I'm still going through puberty. Oh, my glowy hands. Alright. So, a day off from school, because weird stuff happened, he decides to have his Spider-Man moment and just go exploring his powers by running into a forest, doing a couple flips. Oh, I just end up at the top of like this kind of waterfall thingy. I'm gonna do a front flip, a back front flip, landing, superhero pose. Shit. Oh, I suddenly understand the powers. Anyway, after exploring his powers, he somehow figures out where the blonde girl is, the school blonde. she leaves like a store, and then he's like, hey, blah blah blah, and she's not like, what the fuck, how did you know where I was? She's just like, oh my god, hey, oh my god, like, well, how? You see like the super like suburban home. He looks at it longingly like, I've never had this in my life because I've been on the run because I could die at any point because I'm an alien from another planet. Yeah, the dinner was just really awkward. Like, it's supposed to look really wholesome and like, this is the family, they're interacting, it's kind of silly. Oh, no cell phones, you know, blah blah blah. But it was just kind of like, ah, god, fucking white people. And then it's, I guess, the next day at school. No one's questioning why his hands were glowing, and he just left school midway. And the nerd kid, I think his name is Sam, opens his locker, fucking red paint shoots at him. So does 4. He opens his locker, and red paint, like, shoots out. This is why school shootings happen. You fuck with people enough, and this is why it happens. These movies or television or anything that depicts, like, suburban high school always is like, it made you, when you were younger, before you hit like middle school and high school when you had a locker and stuff, it made you paranoid that people were gonna prank your locker at any time. Thank God that wasn't the case for me, because some motherfuckers would have died. The kid starts freaking out and looks for like, you know, like this photo of like his dad with like the paint on it, and he's like shaking looking at it because that kid's backstory, his dad got abducted by aliens and he hopes his dad comes back one day. So it's the Spring Fair Festival at their little fucking town. And of course everyone's gonna be there because it's a small town and that's really the only thing that happens. And of course the fucking school blonde is like, I'm an artist, I take pictures, and she's wearing a fucking beret because that's how you know she's an artist. Can have a beret. I don't own one, so I guess I'm not an artist. So they go on like a haunted hayride, which, well, it's just not the smartest thing to do because then you're left alone. Anyway, and then loner kid Sam follows them, and of course they're like, the hayride guy's like, you have to get off here. And then, you know, there's like a fucking Captain Obvious fucking sign that says your number's up, and it's like, oh my god, I'm number 4. They're saying my number's up. Does that mean, is this about me? And this was all good reason for the fucking asshole kids to fucking, like, jump him with their state-of-the-art, you know, night vision goggles that they got. You later find out that the main bully kid's dad is a police officer, so I later realized that's probably where he, like, grabbed it from. At the same time, it's like, state-of-the-art glow-in-the-dark vision, wow. Night vision. I'm tired. So of course, like, all, like, he's like, so of course 4, when he's fighting these kids, he's throwing people, he's force lightning them and all that stuff. You know, like, why would you attack it? Where did you take the girl? Bah! Like, he doesn't go full Batman, but he was getting there. And of course, to no surprise, the school blonde used to date the main bully guy. So 4 takes, you know, blonde, you know, walks her back home. Of course, they kiss because she's like, you saved me, kind of, sort of. I don't know what really, like, happened. So, of course, Sam saw, like, the fight, and he was like, dude, what the fuck? You were throwing people around. He's like, no, I wasn't. It was just force lightning. The sheriff shows up, who is, like I said, the main bully kid's dad, starts questioning 4 about things. Goes to their house, starts questioning about it, doesn't question that that house suddenly is occupied. Okay. So Timothy Olyphant is like, alright, too much shit has happened, we have to leave again. We have to leave. And 4 is like, I don't want to leave because I met this blonde and she, like, likes me for who I am. Wait, that's his voice? Like, dude, it's so stupid. It's like, I don't want to leave because of this girl, but it's also like, you need to leave because you're forced, like, you gotta be incognito, you little shit. So I know I joked around about the force lightning thing, but at some point, he was, like, using the force, because he's, like, you know, hand out, moving things, pulling it closer, pushing it away, all that shit. This is really dumb. Timothy Olyphant goes missing. That sucks. So then the face dudes talk to these conspiracy website dudes who I think like Timothy Olyphant was able to find on their website like footage of Ford doing Force Lightning, but all his super crazy technology, like he wasn't able to delete the internet and stuff. Well, I Rip Mattresses blonde, she starts showing up, and I feel like she was only like, was she on set for like 2 days? Because you see her for like 2 seconds in the beginning of the movie, then you just don't see her until like the third act. Okay, so again, it's a small town, so there's a house party. And, you know, who's at the house party? Everyone. He goes and talks to the freaking blonde, like, on this, like, little rooftop part because, you know, we need alone time, but, like, in the backyard or anywhere else would seem too, like, I guess too cliche even for them. They're like, let's be on the roof, and then it's like, oh no, the sheriff's here. The girl falls off the roof, and he like Gwen Stacy's her, you know, well without snapping her back, but like, freaking like, ooh, let me catch you with my force. Okay, so they run away back to school, sneak into the school to use the dark room to develop, I guess, film for reasons of, because the boy was like, I borrowed that camera you let me borrow, this film here, I want to show you who I am. Because the girl was like, the camera never lies. Art. So while they're in the dark room, it's not really that dark anyway, so surprised anything was able to be developed. He starts like lightly glowy hand on her, and she's like, oh my god, like she's so turned on, but she's like, glowy hand, like, oh. So then Action Blonde shows up because it's the third act, and apparently she's good. Like, I thought, you know, ripping mattresses and blowing houses up, you think she's bad. She's actually one of them. She's number 5 or 6. She's one of the numbers. Because they get out of the dark room and notice that, you know, the face guys are there, like, oh no, we're gonna be attacked soon. And then the dog that we saw earlier, you know, that was the gecko thingy, shapeshifts into a really huge fucking, like, monster dog. And then for a bit it's like, fight scene, CGI fight scene, CGI fight scene, for quite some time. You just see that. And it's also a bit on the dark side, so you have no idea what's going on. So then, like, the climax is a huge fight scene on the football field, blah blah blah. So the football field is fucked by the end of it. It doesn't even look like a football field. It's like a fucking, you know, like asteroid just hit it. So cut to next day, next week, who fucking knows. And it's like, let's start sequel baiting. 4 and Action Blonde are like, okay, we have to leave. And then 4 is like, well, we have to take Sam because his dad was abducted by aliens and he needs answers. You know, because that kid doesn't have, like, a mom, apparently. Because it's like, well, I don't have my dad anymore. Screw my mom who, you know, lost her husband. I have to leave to go find my dad. And then the main bully kid is there with, you know, Photo Blonde. And they're just like, alright, it's good seeing you, so, you know, because suddenly bully kid is nice because, I don't know, he probably saw, like, all the shit that was happening. Okay, shake your hand. Well, hope to see you one day. Photo Blonde is like, oh my god, I hope you come back. Oh my god. And then Action Blonde's like, we gotta go because blah blah blah. Anyway, sequel bait. This movie ends. What the fuck? And this was produced by Michael Bay. So that was I Am Number 4. I don't get it. It wasn't a good movie, obviously. Everything was cliche. It's a YA film, so usually it is. But this was really bad. Like, even the trailer, I remember seeing the trailer and being like, this looks really bad and cheesy. This isn't even like a good bad. This is just bad. There's all this, like, stupid shit that happens. Obviously, it's sequel baited, because I think, like, the book series is, I think, 3 to 4 books. Obviously, this didn't go any further because this bombed like hell. And then the fact that they were trying to market this as Twilight for boys because there's that slight love triangle between 4, Blonde, and Bully. But instead of there being like vampires and werewolves, it's like, oh, you've got normal kid, art girl, and then fucking I have Force Lightning guy. And it's like, okay, I guess. Sure. Twilight for boys. Ew. Twilight for anyone. isn't okay.